"We're too good for your cheap vacation," Mom said, after I paid $5,000 for a Hawaiian trip for their anniversary. Dad added, "Double the budget and we'll go." I canceled everything, and now they are left without a vacation. My name is Rose and I'm 28 years old. I work as a marketing coordinator at a mid-sized company downtown, and I've been living in my own apartment for about 5 years now. My parents, David and Linda, are both 62 and recently retired. Dad worked as an accountant for 30 years, and Mom was a high school teacher. They live in the same house where I grew up about 20 minutes away from my place. Then there's my sister Melina. She's 2,053 years younger than me and still lives with our parents. She works part-time at a boutique and spends most of her free time shopping or hanging out with friends. Melina has always been Mom and Dad's favorite, though they'd never admit it out loud. She's the one who can do no wrong. The one who gets praised for everything while I'm expected to be responsible for everyone. For the past few years, I've been the one helping my parents financially whenever they needed it. When Dad's car broke down 2 years ago, I gave them $3,000 for repairs. When Mom needed dental work last year, I covered the bill. I never asked for the money back because they're my parents, and I thought that's what family does for each other. It was a month ago when everything started. We were having our usual Sunday dinner at Mom and Dad's house. The dining room smelled like Mom's pot roast, and we were all sitting around the old wooden table that's been in the family since I was a kid. Dad was carving the meat when he cleared his throat. "Linda and I have an announcement to make," he said, setting down the carving knife. "We've decided to throw a big party for our 35th wedding anniversary next month." "That's so exciting," Melina said, clapping her hands together. Then Mom looked directly at me with a serious expression. "This year, your father and I are expecting some special gifts from our children. This is a big milestone for us." I felt a little knot form in my stomach, but I smiled anyway. I had been thinking about their anniversary and started saving money for a gift months ago. "Don't worry, Mom," I said. "I think you'll be really pleased with what I have planned." The rest of dinner went normally, but I couldn't stop thinking about the gift I had planned. Over the next few weeks, I spent time online researching the perfect trip. I settled on a week-long vacation in Hawaii at a 4-star hotel right on the beach with great reviews. The total cost would be just under $5,000 for both of them, including flights and hotel. I decided to present the gift at the next Sunday dinner, put together a presentation on my laptop with pictures of the hotel and activities. When Sunday came around, I could barely contain my excitement. After we finished eating, I pulled my laptop out of my bag. "I have something to show you both," I said, setting it on the dining room table. Mom and Dad moved their chairs closer. Melina stood behind them. "Surprise, you're going to Hawaii for a week," I said, opening my presentation. I showed them pictures of the hotel, the rooms with ocean views, the pool area, and the beach access. This hotel has incredible reviews. Breakfast and lunch are included every day, and it's only a 5-minute walk to the ocean. I showed them the flight details and information about local attractions. You can go snorkeling, take helicopter tours, visit volcanoes, or just relax on the beach. But as I was talking, I noticed Mom and Dad looking more and more uncomfortable. Their smiles seemed forced. When I finished, there was an awkward silence. Finally, Mom spoke up. "How much is this going to cost? Almost $5,000 for both of you," I said proudly. "I know it sounds like a lot, but it's actually a really good value." Instead of excitement, Melina was the first to respond. "That's way too cheap," she said flatly. I stared at her, confused. "What do you mean, too cheap?" Melina reached over and pulled my laptop toward herself, scrolling back through the pictures. I had just shown them. "Look at this place, Rose. This is a terrible hotel. They only feed you twice a day. There's not even dinner included. The hotel has great reviews." I protested 5 minutes to walk to the ocean. Melina continued shaking her head. "That's way too far. The ocean should be right there, right? On the shore." She kept scrolling through my presentation, criticizing everything. Honestly, I would have chosen a much better vacation for Mom and Dad than all this. Mom immediately nodded in agreement. "Rose, I expected something more expensive from you. You should double the budget, and then it would be something we'd actually like." Felt like I'd been slapped. "Double the budget," Melina said, warming up to the topic. "Mom and Dad need business-class plane tickets at minimum. They're not flying economy in a 4-star hotel. That's way too modest. They need a 5-star hotel with a suite room, free minibar, and they should be greeted with expensive champagne. The hotel should have a sauna, free massages, and spa treatments," she added. "That's the bare minimum for their anniversary." I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm within my budget. This is one of the best hotels in Hawaii. $5,000 for a week's vacation for 2 people is not a vacation for poor people. This is a large sum of money that I've been saving for several months. But Melina was already looking at something on her phone, completely ignoring what I'd said. "I found the perfect place," she announced, showing her phone screen to Mom. "This is a luxury hotel that has everything they need with the flight. It comes out to $5,000 per person. Mom leaned over to look at Melina's phone, nodding approvingly. I stared at Melinia's phone screen in disbelief. $10,000. That was more than I made in 3 months after taxes. Melina should go with us too, Mom said suddenly, looking at the hotel pictures on my sister's phone. Since she found such a wonderful place for us, my heart sank even further. What do you mean? She should go with you. Someone needs to help us. Dad spoke up for the first time since my presentation. We're retired now, and traveling can be complicated. Melina knows all about these fancy places. Melina grinned widely. It's a great idea. I could help you guys with everything, booking spa treatments, making dinner reservations, all that stuff. So that would be $15,000 total. Mom said matter of faculty, $5,000 for each of us. I felt like the room was spinning. $15,000. That was almost my entire yearly savings. I would accompany Mom and Dad everywhere. Melina continued, clearly excited about the idea. They're going to need my help with everything. Retired people can get confused in new places. I looked around the table at their faces. Mom looked expectant, like this was completely reasonable. Dad was nodding along, already convinced, and Melina looked smug, like she just won some kind of contest. This is absolutely insane, I said quietly. What's insane about wanting the best for your parents? Melina shot back. I found them the perfect vacation. You should be thanking me. I felt a surge of anger rising in my chest, but I tried to keep my voice steady. You want me to pay $15,000 for a vacation for 3 people? When I originally budgeted $10,000 for 2 people. That's right, Mom said simply. That's what we expect from you. I sat there for a moment looking at these people who were supposed to be my family. The same people I'd been helping financially for years. The same people who never seemed grateful anymore, only critical. I thought about last year when I bought Dad that big screen TV for his birthday. It cost me $1,500, which was a lot for me at the time. But instead of being happy, he complained that I should have gotten him an even bigger one. He said I shouldn't skimp on family. Then there was 6 months ago when Mom's phone started acting up. I gave her $800 to buy a new one. But she complained that it wasn't enough money, that she had to settle for a basic phone. When I told her I had bought the same phone for the same price, she said there was no need to compare. Every Christmas, they gave me a list of gifts. They wanted each costing $300 or $400 per person. Meanwhile, their gifts to me were clearance items from discount stores. Last year, it was a green scarf, even though they know I hate wearing green. The year before that, it was a mug that cost less than $2. I suddenly felt very tired. What I said, closing my laptop and putting it back in my bag. You're absolutely right. This vacation isn't suitable for you at all. Mom looked confused. What do you mean? I understand now. You want something much more expensive and luxurious than what I can provide. I stood up and slung my bag over my shoulder. You have very high standards and I clearly can't meet them. Rose, where are you going? Dad asked. Home. I said simply. Melina has great taste and obviously knows what you want better than I do. Rose, don't be ridiculous, Mom said sharply. We're talking about your gift to us. No, we're talking about Melina's gift to you, I corrected. She picked it out. She knows all about luxury hotels and she wants to go along to help you. Sounds like she's got everything covered. I walked toward the front door and surprisingly nobody tried to stop me. No one called out my name or asked me to come back and talk it through. They just sat there at the dining room table, probably still looking at Melina's phone and planning their dream vacation. The drive home gave me time to think about everything that had just happened. I kept replaying the conversation in my mind, getting angrier with each mile. When I got home, I made myself a cup of coffee and sat down at my kitchen table. My hands were still shaking from anger and hurt. I couldn't believe how entitled they had become. I remembered when I first started helping them financially. They were so grateful. Dad would hug me and tell me what a good daughter I was. Mom would tear up and say she didn't know what they would do without me. But somewhere along the way that gratitude had disappeared. Now my help was expected, and it was never enough. Every gift was criticized, every amount of money was too little, every gesture was somehow lacking. I pulled out my phone and started making calls. First, I called the hotel in Hawaii and canceled the reservation. Fortunately, I had booked everything in advance, so they refunded my deposit without any problems. Then I called the airline. Canceling the plane tickets was more expensive. They charged me about $200 in fees, but I didn't care. I was just relieved that I had caught everything in time and wasn't out the full $5,000. As I hung up the phone after the last cancellation call, I felt a strange mixture of sadness and relief. Sadness that my family had become so greedy. And I'm grateful relief that I wouldn't be spending my life savings on people who clearly didn't appreciate anything I did for them. I finished my coffee, took a long hot shower, and tried to put the whole mess out of my mind. Maybe they would realize how unreasonable they had been. Maybe they would call and apologize. For the next couple of days, everything was quiet. On Wednesday evening, I was making dinner when my email notification went off, checked my phone, and saw a message from Elena. The subject line read, "Updated, Hawaii trip cost breakdown." My stomach dropped. I opened the email and saw a detailed spreadsheet. Melina had calculated everything down to the penny business class flights for 3 people, 5-star hotel suite for a week, spa treatments, fine dining excursions, and even shopping money. The bottom in bold red letters was the total $15,000. The email ended with Rose. "Please transfer this amount to Mom and Dad by Friday so we can finalize all the bookings. Thanks." I stared at my phone in disbelief. She had actually spent time making a spreadsheet like this was some kind of business transaction, like I was her personal bank account. I deleted the email without responding. The next day, my phone started ringing at 7 in the morning. It was Mom. I let it go to voicemail. Then Dad called. I ignored that too. Then Elena called. I turned my phone on silent. By the end of Thursday, I had 17 missed calls from various family members. I didn't listen to any of the voicemails or read any of the text messages that kept pouring in. Friday was even worse. The call started again at 6:30 in the morning and continued all day during my lunch break at work. I finally looked at some of the text messages. Melina had sent about 10 messages. The first few were polite reminders about the money transfer. Then they got more demanding. The last one said, "Rose, we need this money today. The hotel is holding our reservations and we have to pay now or lose everything." Mom's messages were guilt trips. "Rose, your father and I raised you and sacrificed everything for you. The least you can do is give us a proper anniversary gift. If you don't give us the gift Melina chose, then don't bother coming to our anniversary party." Dad's messages were shorter but just as manipulative. "Your mother is very upset. Fix this." I put my phone back in my desk drawer and tried to focus on work, but it was impossible. Every few minutes I could feel the phone buzzing with more calls and messages. That evening, I was finally ready to deal with the situation. I had just finished eating dinner and was settling down to watch some TV when there was loud pounding on my front door. I looked through the people and saw all 3 of them standing on my doorstep, Mom, Dad, and Elena. It was almost 10 o'clock at night. I opened the door but left the chain lock on. "What are you doing here so late?" "Rose, we need to talk," Dad said firmly. "Open the door," Mom demanded. I sighed. And under the chain lock, they pushed past me into my living room like they owned the place. "You've lost your mind," Melina said immediately, not even bothering to sit down. "First, you promise Mom and Dad a vacation, and then you cancel everything. What is wrong with you? According to all of you, my gift was too cheap." I said calmly, "I was just taking your advice. Don't be smart with us." Rose Mom snapped, "Exactly what we expect from you, right? $15,000, I said, for a vacation that started as a gift for 2 people and somehow became a luxury trip for 3 people. Melina deserves to go too. Dad said she found the perfect place for us, and we need her help traveling. Then Elena can pay for it." I said, "Since she has such expensive taste and wants to go so badly, that's not how this works." Melina said, her voice getting louder. "You're the one who promised them a gift. Can't back out now." I offered them a $5,000 vacation to Hawaii. I said that was my gift. You decided it wasn't good enough and picked something else that costs twice as much. That's not my responsibility. Mom stood up from my couch, her face red with anger. "Rose, you are being selfish and ungrateful. Your father and I gave you life, raised you, fed you, clothed you, and put you through school. We deserve better than this treatment. I've been paying you back for years." I said, my own voice getting louder. "I've given you thousands of dollars over the past few years. Money I never asked you to pay back. Money I gave you because I thought you needed help, and I wanted to help my parents. That was your duty as our daughter," Dad said. "My duty," I repeated. "My duty was to help when you needed it, which I did. My duty was not to fund your luxury lifestyle forever. We're not asking for forever." Melina said, "Just this one vacation, this one $15,000 vacation," I corrected, "plus the TV I bought Dad that wasn't big enough. Plus the phone money I gave Mom that wasn't enough. Plus all the expensive Christmas gifts you demand every year while giving me clearance items that cost less than $5. They all started talking at once, shouting over each other about how ungrateful I was, how I owed them everything, how I was ruining their anniversary. "Get out," I yelled louder than I had ever yelled at them before. "Get out of my house right now, or I'm calling the police." "You wouldn't dare," Mom said. I picked up my phone and started dialing 911. "Try me." Dad grabbed Mom's arm. "Linda, let's go. We'll deal with this later." "Rose, you're making a huge mistake," Melina said, as they headed toward the door. "Everyone is going to know what kind of daughter you really are." "Good," I said. "Make sure you tell them the whole story. Tell them about the $15,000 you demanded. Tell them how you criticized my $5,000 gift. Tell them everything." They left, slamming the door behind them. I locked it immediately and put the chain back on. I sat down on my couch. my hands shaking from adrenaline. Couldn't believe what had just happened. My own family had come to my house late at night to demand money from me like some kind of loan sharks. The next morning, my phone started ringing at 6 a.m. This time it wasn't just Mom, Dad, and Melina calling. It was everyone. Aunts, uncles, cousins, even my grandmother, who I hadn't talked to in over a year. Apparently, my parents had called every single family member and told them their version of the story. My cousin Jessica called first. Rose, what's going on? Your mom called me crying last night. She said you canceled their anniversary trip. I tried to explain the real situation, but it was exhausting. Maybe you could just compromise somewhere in between, she asked. I sighed. This was going to be the same conversation with everyone. Jessica, I can only do what's within my budget and capabilities. After I hung up with Jessica, my Aunt Carol called. She was much less understanding. Rose, I can't believe you would treat your parents this way. They gave birth to you, raised you. And now when they need you most, you're abandoning them. And Carol, they don't need me. They want me to pay for a luxury vacation that costs more than some people make in 6 months. Your parents have an anniversary coming up. They deserve to celebrate properly. And here you are bringing your mother to tears and causing your father's blood pressure to spike. You need to fix this situation right now. Even my 90-year-old grandmother called Rosie sweetheart. Your parents are very upset. You should make sure they're satisfied with their gift. Don't be stingy with them. By the end of the week, I had talked to 15 different family members. I stopped explaining myself after a while to every family member who called. I just said the same thing. I can only do what's within my capabilities and budget. The following Monday, I got a text message from Mom Rose. You are not invited to our anniversary party. It would be embarrassing to have you there since all our friends and family will. Ask where you are, and I'll have to tell them about your greed and ingratitude. I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me was hurt that my own parents were disinviting me from their anniversary, but another part of me was actually relieved. I texted back. That's fine. I'll be glad not to see your ungrateful and unhappy faces. After I sent that message, I thought the whole thing was finally over. I figured they would have their anniversary party complain about me to whoever would listen, and then eventually we'd all move on with our lives. But a week later, Mom sent me another surprise. She sent a payment request through my phone's mobile payment app for $3,000. The note said, anniversary party catering. I stared at the request in complete disbelief. After everything that had happened after disinviting me from their party, they still wanted me to pay for it. I immediately declined the request. Within an hour, Mom tested me. Rose, you already deceived us with the vacation gift. The least you can do is pay for our anniversary catering. It's only $3,000. I didn't even bother responding to that message. Few days later, I ran into my cousin Marcus at the grocery store. He filled me on how the anniversary party had actually gone. It wasn't the grand celebration they had planned, he said, looking a little uncomfortable. They ended up just having a barbecue in their backyard. Your mom cooked all the food herself. They used plastic tables and chairs from the garage, and everything was served on paper plates. What about all their friends and family? I asked. Maybe 20 people showed up. It was pretty low-key, but honestly, Rose, your parents looked miserable the whole time. They spent the entire evening complaining about what an ungrateful daughter they had raised. It was really uncomfortable for everyone there. I felt a little bad hearing that, but not bad enough to regret my decision. They had brought this on themselves with their ridiculous demands and entitled attitude. Did anyone ask where I was? A few people asked. Your mom told them you were too selfish to help with their anniversary. I think most people could tell there was more to the story. After that, everything went quiet for months. No more phone calls, no more text messages, no more payment requests. It was like my family had finally given up on me and decided to leave me alone. I actually felt relieved for the first time in years. I wasn't getting constant requests for money or criticism about my gifts not being expensive enough. I could focus on my own life and my own finances without feeling guilty all the time. But then 6 months later, something completely unexpected happened. I was at work when a delivery guy showed up at my office with a huge bouquet of flowers and an elegant gift box. The card said it was from Mom, Dad, and Melina. Inside the box was a beautiful coffee set, expensive-looking cups, saucers, and a matching coffee pot that would look perfect in my kitchen. There was also a handwritten note from my parents that said, Rose, we're sorry for how things went with the anniversary. We hope you can forgive us. Love, Mom and Dad. I sat at my desk, staring at the gift for a long time. This was the first time in years that my parents had given me something that actually seemed thoughtful and expensive. The coffee set probably cost several $100s, and it was exactly the kind of thing I would have picked out for myself. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was a catch after demanding $15,000 from me, after disinviting me from their anniversary, after trying to make me pay for their catering. Now they were suddenly apologetic and generous. It didn't make sense. My parents had never admitted they were wrong about anything in their lives. They had never apologized for their unreasonable demands or their entitled behavior. So why now was this a genuine attempt to repair our relationship? Had they actually realized how unreasonable they had been, or was this some kind of trap? Maybe they were hoping that if they gave me one expensive gift, I would forget about their terrible behavior and go back. To being their personal ATM, I brought the flowers and coffee, sat home that evening, and put them on my kitchen counter. They really were beautiful, and the apology note seemed sincere. But I couldn't bring myself to call them or text them to say thank you. I had been hurt too deeply by their greed and entitlement. I had been disappointed too many times by their lack of gratitude for everything I had done for them over the years. One expensive gift and a brief apology, Neil, weren't enough to undo all of that damage. So, I kept the gift. But I didn't reach out to them. I decided to wait and see what happened next. Maybe this was the beginning of them treating me with more respect and appreciation. Or maybe this was just another manipulation tactic. Only time would tell if my family had actually learned something from this whole mess, if they were just trying a different approach. To get what they wanted from me until I figured out their real motives, I wasn't ready to let them back into my life.